What's going on, guys? BASSFZz here. Now, some time ago, someone asked me if I could do a video talking about victimhood. Yes, someone asked me to make a video talking about being a victim. Now, being a victim in Victimhood Complex has been a topic that has been on my mind since what was it? It's about a year ago. Almost a year ago. It was the Yes All Women hashtag. That's what it was called. The Victimhood Complex. Now, Victimhood Complex is a very funny topic. It's not funny as in it's humorous, but it's funny in not just how well it works, but in the fact that how it works makes it a very ironic tool that the feminists use. And it's usually feminists who use the victimhood complex, although the victimhood complex can be used by a number of different people. Fundamentalist Christians use it, atheist cult members use it, social justice warriors use it. This whole concept of being a victim in order to get people to either garner sympathy or to get people to come help you out. And that's the whole purpose of the victimhood complex. So what is a victimhood complex? Victimhood complex is constantly looking at yourself as a victim of some form of oppression or a victim of some form of circumstance. It is a very pessimistic look in life. It is constantly looking at everything as something that has either victimized you or something that has wronged you over time. That's being a victim. Now, the truth of the victimhood complex is it comes in two brands. You either have the victims, or the people who genuinely think that they're being oppressed and victimized, and then you have the fakers. You have the people who paint themselves out to be victims, but in all actuality are controlling everything from behind the scenes. They're evil masterminds. Well, I wouldn't, sometimes they're evil, but they're certainly manipulators. No way around that. So let's start off with the actual people who have this real victimhood complex. A lot of young ladies in our American society suffer from victimhood complexes. It's not all of them. It's probably not even a gigantic fraction, but it certainly is some of them. I mean, I can't write a statistic. I wish I could, but I can't. But there are some women who think that they are just victims of anything and everything. Catcalling is the first thing that comes to mind. I made a video recently about how this one girl put such a nefarious undertone to being catcalling on the street that some guy saying hello, how are you is in so facto saying that he wants to hurt you somehow. They get really paranoid and they think that anything and everything is going to hurt them. It's kind of like being a chihuahua, right? Like chihuahuas are so small, right, that everything's really big to them and everything they perceive as a threat because they know that they can't do much of shit against anything. That's why they're always shaking and always barking all the time. It's because they know they ain't got much of anything to do against, everything else in the world. Especially other dogs that want to hurt them. So yeah, you have the real victims. They think that anything and everything that happens to them is a part of the patriarchy or a part of some grander scheme to keep them down. And they think that that the whole world is against them somehow. It's how they can have this whole patriarchy theory and somehow it makes sense to them. Because in their minds, they're constantly a victim of everything that happens. Then, you have the fakers. The people, they're not actually victims of anything. They just paint themselves out to be victims. Or they will orchestrate their own victimhood in order to garner sympathy and support from people. First person that comes to mind is, you guessed it, Anita Sarkeesian. Now, Anita Sarkeesian talks about how she is so deathly afraid of death threats all of the bloody time that she goes out in the broad daylight with no security at all to go play some card games out in Chicago, right? Like, that's how scared she is that people are going to hurt her. That she would go out in broad daylight as if nothing is happening in her life. One of the most famous women in the world right now, but whatever. But yeah, Anita's constantly talking about how she gets all these different death threats and all these different attacks on the internet. Now, Anita Sarkeesian is not stupid. She knows exactly what she's doing. You see, the thing about pretending to be a victim is what comes with that is gigantic masses of power against those who wish to do nothing more but protect you. You see, in man, there is a natural drive that forces us to wish to protect our children and the women that we love. Women in general, really, right? And feminists exploit that all the time. That's the funny, ironic thing that comes out of the victimhood complex. For as much as feminists dislike men or have a disdain for men, they certainly have no problem using men to their own advantage. Remember the whole he for she campaign Emma Watson created? That's all she was doing, taking advantage of the natural drive of man to protect women. Because believe it or not, men in general like women and want to do nothing more but love them and protect them. So, that's the whole thing with the victimhood complex. It is pretending to be, it's either one of two things. Either pretending to be in trouble, to be a victim, to garner sympathy and support so people come help you out, or it's genuinely thinking that anything and everything that happens to you is because of some conspiracy or some grand plan that's just trying to hurt you. One is incredibly paranoid and is scared of their own goddamn shadows. Like, literally. I remember I was on Tumblr and I literally read a woman read, I need feminism because I am scared of my own shadow. I literally saw this. I might have to find that just to prove it to you guys, but I saw it one time. And then you have the pretenders, the ones who make themselves out to be victims of some problem, when in all actuality, they just want to manipulate you to get something out of you. That's the power of pretending to be a victim. The power of manipulation. The power to get you to do what they want you to do. The victimhood complex is a very, very scary thing, right? Because when you paint yourself out to be a victim, it's very difficult to attack that person head on. Because they can just pretend that they're being attacked or being accosted by a bunch of people. That's why it's hard to criticize Anita Sarkeesian to her fans. Because she painted this whole narrative that she's a victim, any form of criticism that comes at her looks like an attack. Either to Anita Sarkeesian herself, if she genuinely feels that way, which I highly doubt, or to anybody on her side. They'll see any level of criticism and automatically think that the person is trying to hurt her, trying to insult her, or give her some kind of threat. Because that's the narrative Anita painted for herself. Now, there's no doubt in my mind that people do say mean things to Anita Sarkeesian and about Anita Sarkeesian. I mean, I've seen it. However, it certainly does look like Anita Sarkeesian orchestrates a lot of the shit that happens to her. For instance, I remember I actually made a video on toxic masculinity after Anita Sarkeesian made 2 tweets about how it's no coincidence that most of the school shootings that happen from men, and that we have to analyze toxic masculinity in our society. I mean, she's purposely baiting these types of discussions to happen to her, purposely trying to hurt these people's feelings, purposely trying to get a reaction out of people by saying the things she says, and then is somehow shocked or surprised when people have a response to it. Yeah. It's all orchestrated, for the most part, at least. I remember some time ago, Lacey Green tried the same shit with the TJ the Amazing Atheist. It's kind of really funny, but I mean, it happens. See, the victimhood complex is really something that you only see primarily in women, because only women can primarily get away with it. You're not going to find very many people who give too much of a drama around knowledge you fuck about some man in trouble. If I pretended to be a victim, or if I ever tried to make some kind of campaign about how somebody made fun of me on the internet, people would tell me to shut up, because I'm just some nigga on the internet. I'm just some black guy. No one would care if a whole bunch of people were attacking me and calling me mean names. But let that shit happen to a woman. See, again, in man, there is a natural drive that wishes to protect women and their children. Men want to do these things. Men want to go out and protect people. You know, that's a natural drive. It's particularly women and their own kids. It's not usually other people's kids, it's usually theirs. But I mean, there's that drive in you that wants to seek out and go talk and be around women. And of course, some of these women, particularly the feminists, know exactly what they're doing. Emma Watson again comes to mind. Emma Watson knew exactly what she was doing when she made the whole he for she campaign. Even though she tries to start the whole thing at, I'm giving you an invitation to join feminism, like I need your goddamn permission, Queen of fucking England, but whatever. That was one funny thing to me. Anyway, the point that I'm making is she knew what she was doing, because I think she even said, you know, the ground was fertile. And one video response I made to her, that, like, she knew. She knew. She fucking knew. And so, yeah, the victimhood complex only works with women because only people want to protect women. Nobody wants to protect men. I mean, a lot of people don't even want to protect boys. In fact, you oftentimes see teach boys not to rape instead of teach children not to. I mean, even then, we already teach children not to do bad things anyway. I don't really understand why they would somehow delineate rape as exempt from all those bad things, but Whatever. The point is, we are actually normally attacking little boys and telling them that maybe they shouldn't be doing something. And should you even suggest some of the most mundane things to girls, such as, maybe you shouldn't wear those super short shorts to the point that your butt's hanging out. Again, they try to make themselves look like they're victims of sexism because the school says have some goddamn decorum when you're in a learning institution. So, yeah, when you're a victim, anything and everything can be misconstrued to make you look like someone's attacking you. And because of that, you garner a lot of people who want to protect you and make you feel comfortable because people like women in general. Not very many people dislike women, I mean, more people now on the internet are starting to have a disdain towards women, but most people in mainstream society like women quite a bit. I mean, I like women, and I constantly talk about all the stupid shit they do. So, most people like women, in general at least. So yeah, victimhood complexes. You only find them in women, they only work with women, and sometimes they're either a gigantic act, or sometimes these people are really, really paranoid. So hopefully, that'll give you guys something to think about when it comes to the whole victimhood complex thing. Certainly give me I hope I've given you guys something to think about. And if I didn't, well, I'll just try again tomorrow. So with that being said, I certainly hope you guys enjoyed today's video. And if you did, man, go ahead and click that like button. Go ahead and click that subscribe button. Comment in the comment box below. And as always, have a great day. I'll see you cool cats soon. Adios.